Thank you for liking my first interview video. Many friends asked me to create the video in English. That's why it's just the recap of the first interview video in English. So if you want to watch it, please go ahead. I hope you have liked, you have subscribed to my channel. I won't waste you much of your time. So just I will do the recap of the first video, which was in Hindi and English. This video will completely in English. So you all know that the question, I will start with the manual questions, then I will proceed to the automation questions, which were asked to me in this interview. The total experience was was around 5 years and 6 months, with 3 years, around 3 years of automation experience. So first question in the manual, from manual testing, they asked was, what is test closure? So basically, it is just a document that gives summary of all tests with details of bugs or errors found. It contains detailed analysis of the bugs removed and the errors found. So basically, they are testing your software testing lifecycle process knowledge. So when a testing completes, a report is generated which contains the details about all the test cases which were executed, typed, as well as the number of defects found and the density of defects. So you should know what this report, what this test closure document actually means, and you should explain while you are being asked. So let's move to the second question. Sorry for the interruption of the my VPN connectivity. So second question is a very vast question that tell me about your STLC. STLC is basically software testing life cycle. I will create another video if you want describing STLC. It's a very vast topic, and a lot of questions can be asked from that. But if you are asked, you should at least know the definition. That's software testing life cycle is sequence of specific activities conducted during the testing process to ensure software quality goals are met. And what are the basic steps of the STLC? They are requirement analysis, test planning, test case development, test environment setup, test execution, test cycle closure. As there are a lot of steps are involved in that, and a lot of different kind of questions can be asked from it. Moving to the next question, another vast topic, they asked me about what is non-functional testing. So it's basically a test software testing to check non-functional aspects, and what they will ask you what are the non-functional aspects. So it's performance, usability, reliability, etc. And you should my advice is to give only those names about which you know, because there are around 30-40 kinds of non-functional testing, but you should only tell about those testing on about which you know. So if you don't know about any testing, just don't mention it, because if you mention it, they can ask the questions from that. So next is, this is very common question, what is traceability matrix? So traceability matrix is a document to track the requirements and to check the current project requirements are met. So like when the requirements are given, a lot of test cases are mapped to those requirements, and it's just a requirement traceability matrix is also called traceability matrix. They might want to confuse you between traceability matrix and requirement traceability matrix, but it's the same document, and it's a document which maps and traces user requirement with the test cases. So the main agenda of every tester should understand the client's requirement and make sure the output product should be defect free. To achieve this goal, every QA should understand the requirement thoroughly and create positive and negative test cases. And just to remember that the traceability matrix or requirement traceability matrix or RTM is a document to track the requirements and to check the current project requirements are met. So next question, it was a very tricky question. What is difference between bug, error, and defect? When it was asked, I was like confused like hell. And so I will just mention it in a very simpler way so that you will remember after watching this video. Error. What is error? Error is any mistake in the code. When a developer makes a mistake in the code, it is called error, and it is done by a developer. What is defect? Defect is when that error is found by the tester while testing is known as defect. So when a QA catches a error, it is called defect. And when what will QA will do, he will report that defect. So when he reports the defect, and if it is accepted by the development team, it is called bug. So just remember that error is a mistake in the code, defect is the error found by the tester, and bug is the defect accepted by the developer. It's a very simple but very confusing topic. So keep a special, give a special attention to this question. Next, what is integration testing? Basically, a lot of while development, different developers work on a project, and they keep developing their modules differently. So when all the modules are combined, we do integration testing to check if after integration is there any issue or not. So the purpose of this level of testing is to expose the faults in the interaction between integrated units. So just you can see this diagram. Unit testing is for each of the modules done by each of the developer. But when their modules are combined, we do the integration testing. And the next step is system testing and acceptance testing. So these were the questions which were asked to me by the interviewer for regarding the manual testing. Now coming back, now let's see the questions of the automation testing. So the first question was they asked me what skills do I have in the automation. So I mentioned that I know Java as a programming language, Selenium at the time, Selenium, TestNG. These were the technologies on which the requirement was the requirement of the testing. So first question was, what are TestNG annotations? TestNG, there are a lot of annotations. If you know TestNG, you can simply answer it. But remember, tell only those annotations about which you know the answer, about which you can explain at least 1 or 2 lines. So I will just put these annotations for you. So at the rate test, before method, after method, before class, after class. The important annotations are at the rate parameter, at data provider, at listeners. These last 3 are very important. So if you know them, explain them. If you don't know them, don't mention it. Next question is, what is listener annotation? So listener annotation is defined as the interface that modifies default TestNG behavior. So it keeps on listening to the code, and if the event occurs, it will behave accordingly. So these are the important topics. I will advise you to just go through it. You can test it also in your code so that you know ins and outs of these things. Where the listener annotation is used, it's used in reports and logs. Next question, how to run the test cases in parallel. This is a very important question asked many times during your testing interviews, how to run the test cases in parallel. So if you are using TestNG, you can just simply put the parallel attribute in TestNG XML and thread count as 2, 3, 4 as per your requirement. So you can see the diagram how the thread counts has been 3, and the parallel testing is done on methods. So these are the parameters, methods, tests, classes, and instances which can be used as a parallel attribute. The very tricky question, what is the default value of thread count? So default value is 5. This is a trick question involved in this. Next question, what are data providers? So data provider is a way to pass the parameters in test function. What does it return? It returns an array of objects. And this is a TestNG annotation. They might ask you, how is there any other way to provide data? Yeah. You can provide the data to parameters. If you don't know about parameters, just don't mention it. Next, they might ask you difference between factory and data provider. So data provider uses same instance of class for set of data. Factory uses separate instance of class. This is the one basic difference between factory and data provider. Next, they might ask you, it's a Java related question, what are access modifiers? Access modifiers in Java specifies the accessibility or scope of a field, method, constructor, or class. So you can see in the table that the scope of private, default, protected, and public. So public can be used anywhere, protected you can not use outside package, default you can use within the class and within the package, and private you can use only in the class. So this table, if you understand it, you can give any answer about these access modifiers. Next, they moved to API testing and asked me about what is Postman. The Postman is an application for interacting with HTTP APIs. Postman was, Google provides some plugin to use Postman, but Postman was created by an Indian. I will provide the link of the, if you want to know about most of Postman, so you can check that. They might ask you, have you used any other API testing tool? So at that time I didn't use, but I knew that SOAP UI, you can use SOAP UI, even if you can use just Google Chrome to check the responses of the HTTP APIs. Then they will ask you, they might ask you about more about Postman. So just remember the few other points about Postman. Then they might ask you, have you done automation using Postman? At the time I didn't do, so I told that no, I have not done, but API automation of the API testing is possible using Postman. And the trick question is, what is Newman? So Newman is basically command line runner for Postman. Then they asked me, tell me about API framework you worked on. So this is the question. If you don't have worked on, just don't lie, because a lot of inner questions they will ask you and they will catch you if you don't know about the framework. So if you want, I can create another video describing how you can explain framework in interview. So just, it's my suggestion that don't lie in your interview. So that was all about the first interview. I tried to keep it short and in English, because a lot of my friends told that they want in English also apart from Hindi. So that's all. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and I will upload more videos. So keep looking for that. Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.